2016 Jet Boat Marathon, sponsored by ITM and Design Windows. Today we're looking at doing the Criterium, which is about a 30k run, one boat at a time, because it'll take some time for the 30 boats to get through here, but what this does is give them the seeding for tomorrow. This marathon is 650 k's of racing over 7 days. It's the same course as what they're going to do next year for the Worlds. So there's some great rivers in here, you know, you've got the Waia, you've got the Waimak, you've got the Rakai, you've got the Waitaki and the Clutha. The big turbine boats will really perform there. And of course we've got the Dart, the Clutha and the Matuki. And then you do the Shotover. Now the Shotover is where all those jet boat tour operators operate. They shut it down and it's extremely exciting, very narrow. And of course overseas competitors is what we're hoping for next year.
Yeah, they set the course up this year to mirror what they're going to do next year for the World Championships. And my father and I came over from the States, and we're going to look at all the rivers here and hopefully have a great week.
Today's the Hamilton Jet Criterium on the Waimak. About a 30k lap, and this is seeding position for the boat. And already the second boat out, which is an FS boat run aground. You wouldn't expect an FX boat, which is a light boat, controlled class engine to run aground, but he did, so hey, he's up against the clock already.
Oh, that's
And normally classes like CX and FX, they race for days and they'll be seconds or minutes apart. This is a pretty short day's racing on the Waimak because, hey, but guys are pretty nervous when they get in their boat. They may not have been in them for a while. It's 32 k's circuit racing, one at a time. It's not what they normally race, but hey, we've got some great results today. We've got Jason Young, of course, in a CX boat. He's a current world champion out of it and just won a world champion. Very fast boat. Then you've got Aaron Morrison in his A-class boat. But believe it or not, I think the turbines got licked today by a twin turbocharged Nissan, and that was, of course, Ben Baxter's boat. Today suited the twin turbocharged boat. It's a shorter boat, a lot more power to weight ratio and acceleration out of the corners. That boat's hard to beat on a short course like that.
It's suited for tight stuff. We don't like the big rivers, but out there was pretty much perfect for us.
What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, it's probably, I think we'll work out it pretty good. Nice low river, so if we get to the top, we'll be very happy.
You ever wonder what it's like to sit alongside someone doing 120 mile an hour?
Take a look at this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're good. Stand all over it.
day 2 of the ITM and Design Windows Jet Boat Marathon race. Absolutely superb day on the Waimak River. What a great day yesterday. The short course really pushed that twin turbocharged boat. It just showed you how much grunt that guy had. Great acceleration. The turbine boats just lacked that little bit of grunt coming out of corners, but today will really show with 65 k's upstream and downstream. There's some good straights in these rivers and the turbine boats will really stretch their legs. What they'll have to watch for today when they're boating is the braided rivers. The braided rivers are really hard. If you take the wrong stream and it goes into nothing, you're a long time pushing. You'll probably need a helicopter to get yourself out. These boats weigh, with the people in it, probably 1.5 tons, but they're doing over 120 mile an hour. The downstream record probably will be broken today. It's held by Regan Williamson, which is 22 minutes and a little bit more, but boy, John Derry reckons his boat's the fastest. It didn't show that on day 1, but certainly today, I think that long run will show whether they can beat that time. Regan closed the lead this morning, pulling 2 minutes on Baxter and finished right up behind him, which shows you that real speed of the turbine boat.
Our plan was if we could settle in and get comfortable, we're going to sort of give it a bit of a push and see how we go, and we sort of hit the channels we wanted to, and things come together and away we went. So yeah, no, it was good. We caught Nigel just after the pylons. He sort of broke out to the right and we went up the middle, so we had a clean pass on him.
And Ryan Ringer had a really clean run, but right near the end he went straight over a shingle beam.
I was asking the navigator where the flag was, and I wasn't paying attention to the river. I was looking at the bank, and he was yelling right, and I was like, I was thinking there's no flag over there. He was actually meant right channel.
But hey, he wasn't the only one, because the world champion CX man, he did exactly the same thing. But he finished without a push.
So when something like that happens, you're basically just looking for an out, really, and if it's cross dry land, it's cross dry land. Sometimes you get back in the river.
And of course, Tony O'Loughlin, he did what we said. He needed the helicopter to get him back into the river.
I left my brain in the back seat of the truck. Yeah, put the helmet on. You get that brain fade sometimes. You get in your boat, your foot takes over, and your brain holds out. I think I had that one. Yeah, so hopefully I've got rid of that now, and I've actually taped my brain in my helmet now, so hopefully I'll keep it there.
Plenty of drama on the way down, but of course nothing for Regan. He had a very clean run. But Roger Preston, of course, pressing really, really hard, got into serious difficulties. Didn't have a push, but it did cost him some time.
Pushed pretty hard the first half, but we made a balls up and missed a corner and mounted a bank and nearly tipped it on its side, and then it sort of went downhill from then on. So we're very pleased to see the end. We sort of made mistake after that, but we still got the second down, so hopefully all good.
And of course Nigel Cromie, who started second this morning, ended up about 7th or 8th today. He hit a bank.
Straight through there. Narrow that. Nail it round there right. Straight down. Beautiful. Nice and clean. Up to your right.
But he never had a push, and he did get to the finish line, and that's what it's all about. We thought Ryan Ring had a few issues going upstream, but not like what he had coming downstream. Clearly, I think he ended up in the paddocks.
Oh, we got down about about 2/3 of the way down the river and got off on the right-hand side of the river and went across the shingle bar, and the left sponson caught on a little, I guess, leg of the shingle bar, and it spun the boat, and on the drag ground we went. We've just pushed the boat back into some water and off we went, came back downstream. But yeah, we missed our cutoff time, so, but we're still boating.
You've got a bit of a smile on your face.
We're in New Zealand, it's sunny, beer's cold, we're good.
That wraps up the Waimak River today, and of course tomorrow we're off to the Waiau. And that's like 110 k's upstream. That is what we call a piston breaker. It's very hard on piston engines, and it's very fast river coming downstream as well. But that's a long way, and it's a lot of time behind the wheel of the boat. There's some interesting statistics out there with Mike Poley. Mike was a navigator for Robert, his brother, and he's got back into the boat after 22 years. He's got his own boat and driving it. So Mike, what's going to be the biggest challenge after getting out of the passenger seat as a navigator and back into the driver's seat after 20 odd years?
I think just getting the hang of driving one of these new boats. I've never driven Rob's boat, so no, it's going to be a challenge today because the river's down and we're not going to push it. We're just going to get up and back today and hopefully get back on the trail in one piece. The Waimak, it's around the pylons and even up at the top it's challenging, and the flow really determines what you can do and how bad it really gets. We had a good run up and used one life up coming down. We had a wee whoops. No, we got here and it was enjoyable. The boat's handling well and we're looking forward to tomorrow. A bit more of a challenge tomorrow.
So this is day 3 of the ITM Design Windows Jet Boat Marathon. We're standing here on the Waiau River. Now, it's hardly a breath of wind here. The flag isn't even flying, but I'm telling you that 50, 60 k's up the river, it'll be blowing 60 mile an hour. It will be terrible. River will be starting to rise, so it's going to be a real jet boater's day today. And it's a braided river again, but the rocks are bigger. They're not like the Waimak where they're really, really fine shingle. These things, if you hit them, do a lot of damage to boats. I really underestimated the wind speed. I sort of said 70 to 80 mile an hour. I think it could have been 100. The dust storm was the real problem. The guys said they couldn't see 15 feet in front of them, driving at 60 or 70 mile an hour, slowing down. It's like driving in braille. Can you imagine a braided river and you've got no visibility?
We had so much dust for quite a while there, we couldn't see where we were going, and we sort of ended up way out to the left side of the river where we didn't want to be. So sort of imagining where a river goes, boating it blind was quite entertaining. So yeah, no, we're pretty lucky to be up here. So the jet boating guides were definitely on our side for this leg. Poor Rod John, yeah, pretty sure he's gone up the same channel we did.
Got into a dust storm and it was blowing a gale. Every time we started rattling, we were just hoping that the water was going to, you know, get some water in front of us, but no, we ended up coming to a tree, dead end.
And you couldn't put any speed in at all, you just get lifted up and slammed into a bank, so we just take it back right off, and the odd bit you get a little bit of speed, but then another gust would come down around through the gorge and it would just kite you. Just come right up.
The boat's reasonably heavy and old and never had a problem. We've actually had the problem trying to get it to lift, but we come into a good headwind with a reasonable pace on and just caught us, and yeah, thought we were going to go over backwards at one stage. That wasn't the best, but now we use the winds for a different purpose. Down. So we learned a pretty valuable lesson from that.
It's a pretty tough leg up there. The wind was really bad. And probably the sandstorms were the worst, so the wind was picking up and you just couldn't see. So, look, you got to race the conditions, but it was really tough work for everybody, to be honest, no matter what boat you're in.
So what they've done now is they've regrouped, come back down the river another sort of like 20 k's to relaunch below that dust storm area so they have a better run downstream.
Well, first wave still had the lead, so we sort of settled in quite early on, and not far down the river we clipped a bar and had a pretty big spin. Required a helicopter assistance to get us back into the water, so we're sort of out of overall now. So yeah, got this NZ1 on this shirt for 4 more days. Then someone else is going to be lucky enough to get it.
That would promote Ben Banks. He too's had a spin.
Yeah, from what I heard, he would have chased John pretty hard down there, and I think he's had a pretty big spin up here as well.
We sort of caught on the back of John, got on his wakes, seen his roost, didn't really know where to go, and cut a big bar, and ended up coming into the water backwards and near on sinking it. We're lucky enough we ended in some deep water, only pushed for about a minute, got on the plane and it was just up from the finish line, so limped home.
So we're waiting for a start on the Rakaya on the 4th day of racing. And of course, it's a beautiful day here at the mouth of the Rakaya River, but I know that at least 40 k's up the river, that's at the Rakaya township, it's probably blowing 80 to 120 kilometres an hour. So again, passing is always an issue on these rivers. And passing, which Craig Robertson really found out yesterday, his navigator pointed him up a stream, there was nowhere to go. It was straight into a dead-end channel.
We were passing a boat and we pulled up beside it, and my navigator sort of said at the same time there was a wee backwash that to stay right, and I thought he meant go right, and we ended up spinning up in this backwash. And which was about, 100 metre from the water at the end of the day. Somewhere along the line we blew the fuse to the computer in the spin, so we got towed up to YL, but fortunately for us the start was for the downstream was moved to YL, so we were able to do the downstream.
It's gusty and it's strong. You'll turn up into a northwesterly, which is effectively a headwind for you. It's going to be better than the side winds, but it's going to affect the boats. You need to boat to the conditions. You've got to change your pace, change your strategy, and boat to what is safe.
A clear warning for boaties today. Strong winds on the Rakaya on day 4, but hey, I'm just working out which boat's the best. A heavy, shorter boat that doesn't take so much air under the front, but some of the lighter boats like the FX boats, boy, they are light boats, and I tell you, if it's blowing at the bridge, it is hard to boat. It gets a lot of lift under your boat. This is one of the braided rivers. They say if you can boat the Rakaya, you can boat any river in the world. You have to read the water. It's not quite like the Waimak. Most of the streams come out. So what you don't do is, you saw Ryan Ringer, you don't go right, otherwise you'll end up in an irrigation race. So if you take a right, go back to the left and go back to where you've left water. So there's a little bit of a look at the cut banks to find out where the main stream flow is. But this river is very readable today. It's blue. It's in absolute perfect condition at about 150 cubic. Hydrochroming never even made off the start line
We're just warming up. It was actually probably 5 minutes before our start, and the engine completely died, so looks like a fuel controller. We're not getting any fuel to the engine.
As I predicted, wind and navigation was going to be a big problem. That Ben Baxter had serious navigation. He nearly didn't make it into the river and then spun later on in his run.
Yeah, I wasn't too tidy this morning. Hadn't really boated the river much and got a bit confused coming into the mouth, and had a wee U-turn and a bit of gravel, and Roger snuck past us, so we just followed him to the top and sort of led us away. I sort of figured Roger had more of an idea than I did, and I had no idea, so it seemed like a good option.
We had got up the river about probably 10k, and we saw the Baxter's rooster tail, so we kind of chased it down, and he had a couple of issues obviously, so we got past him reasonably easily, and then he just followed us up. I think he was sort of, the head was out of race mode, and ours was still in, so he just followed us, and it was good.
Clearly a good run for Preston, but hey, Roger is a good boat driver. He's done a lot of boating, and he's done a lot of boating in high-speed boats. So places like the Rakaya and the Waimak, he hasn't been clean up till now, but I think you'll find he'll shine. But he's had a DNF, which doesn't allow him for an overall, but his class placing is what he'll be trying for. And of course, Jason Young, current world champion CX class, had a drive shaft let go yesterday, and today he run aground.
Yeah, we had a drivetrain issue with the universal let go. Just before the wire bridge, we started to smell something getting hot in the back. We got a small vibration, so we're looking for somewhere to stop, and then it just let go, and then we did stop. Yeah, it ends our campaign, especially in the overall, and also in our CX class as well. Probably too far behind now to try and make any distance, especially after today's effort as well. We ended up way left after the mouth, and missed a little chute, which was the way out, and ended up parking it up in a little pool.
So Jason's bad luck was clearly three other guys' good luck, because Jason was actually waving him out of there to keep them going, which is really good sportsmanship.
We didn't realise Jason was in front of us, and we came around the corner, and the obvious track was straight ahead, but luckily Jason was already parked up in that wee pool, and obviously went nowhere. So, and he gave us the big arm out to go left. So we did. That was great. Well, the first thing going through our mind was we're in the wrong place. And we kept trying to get back out to the centre of the river, but unfortunately everything kept swinging left. So luckily with this class, with these FX boats, they're quite manoeuvrable. So, as long as you don't panic too much and keep your eye on the river, and just really got to get into it and boat as you see it, and hopefully come out the top, which it did.
Tony said this morning that the wind was going to be a problem, and we knew full well after yesterday with a bit of a scare that we had that we didn't want a repeat of that, so we nudged the wings down there and just tried to keep it steady. Had the wings down most of the way coming up here, and just the trouble at the end there. Things were looking pretty good. We come around the last corner there, seen the finish line, just tried to cut it. Caught the back, went into a bit of a spin, and the front fell off.
How did you feel?
Oh, gutted.
So the downstream run on the Rakaya, which is from the mountains to the sea, 87 k's, but of course it does help you when the nor'wester is straight behind you instead of straight into you. The braided river of the Rakaya is very hard, but most of the channels normally come out. That doesn't mean they don't get narrow, as Roger Preston found out. Despite being overtaken, John Derry still leads by a whisker from Ben Baxter. Who's in third? Mike Pooley. Of course, he's been out of boating for a long time. Has been a navigator, but as a driver, he's doing extremely well.
We just sort of missed the shoot and thought we'd take another, and it didn't pan out very well. Yeah, we sort of went and we missed, and we thought, oh no, we've got a chance to get out, and then no, we had no chance, and we're just up the top of nothing.
Craig Robinson did get further. But not much further. We did say the Rakaia would be very interesting, and it was, of course. Not only did you have the winds, but you had the braided rivers, and a lot of people did get into some strife. But, of course, day 5 here on the Waitaki River, and of course someone's either rung up the dam, this is a dam-controlled river, and said, hey guys, we want it lower, because normally this river's got 400 cumecs. I don't think it's got 200. So it's going to be very interesting, very braided, and it does take you into the trees. This is what we call a tree-growing river. They had a great run up the Waitaki this morning. River's a little low, probably only half the flow. John Deary extended his lead, not by a lot.
It's half the flow of when we pre-braided it last week, so you've just got to pick your channels a bit more sensibly, and normally on this river it's got so much flow you can take a lot of shortcuts and get away with it, but today we were pretty conservative and just hopefully ran some good lines, but we got here. So.
And the twin turbocharged boat had some sort of an exhaust issue.
Just spotted a wee crack in the front of the turbo here, so we'll whip it off and shoot up to a garage and see if we can get it welded before downleg.
There was one guy in a CX boat, Wayne Boys, who basically had an alternator wire fall off.
Managed to source the problem, and yeah, we just kept going as far as we could until it stopped. Well, yeah, we're out of overall now, but we'll carry on and see what happens. Still a long way to go.
Yesterday we had a rough run down the Rakaia. We tore the rear plastic off our sponsons on both sides. Overnight we replaced that with some thicker section material, and it's substantially slowed our cornering down today. Probably slowed our cornering speed down about 20%. And then looking at the overall position, we've probably blown 3 or 4 or 5 minutes today.
Well, the upstream created problems for some. Certainly the downstream usually is easier, but what happens there is the speed's up like 15 mile an hour with the current flow, because Roger Preston got caught out and ended up in a big spin in the boat, and he was probably at like better than 120 mile an hour.
Had a great run down about 4k before the finish. We'd hit a bit of a wake, like a pressure wave, and it spun us, and we lost both wings, and then we carried on. The downstream was good. We got about halfway down and we started getting some good lift. I don't know whether the wind had swung around or what, but we started getting some good speed and passed a couple of boats and finished up behind John, so all good.
Rob Pooley had a failed grill. Of course, what happened is the grill bars broke because probably the welding wasn't up to speed, and that allows stones to come into the pump. And once that happens, it does a lot of damage and you just can't drive.
They change dramatically once they haven't got a grill. I know this from personal experience in the past. It's essentially, it's a grate. It's just a filter. It's just to stop all the rubbish, stones, everything getting into your jet unit, but at the same time it's got to allow enough water to get to it to function. And without a grill you get too much and you get what they call reversion. Yeah, we're probably another 5 or 6 minutes prior to that we nearly had a big lose. And I knew straight away, ironically, when it started to happen, I thought, oh no. It's Canada Revisited. Scooped up just a complete unit full of stones, and the next time we tried to start it, it wouldn't even turn over. We're amateur racing teams, we pitch our wits against everything and we accept it as it comes. By the time we get there and go racing, everybody's done their best and we just accept what comes. All in all, we know and respect each other and we know we've done the best on the day.
John Derry had a very clean run today, up and down, and of course on the way down he led the charge home and got home first. But hey, that doesn't mean to say he got the fastest time, but he would have been a very fast boat. Justin Hill did the same, like he's leading A class at the moment. Justin had a problem on day one which gave him a DNF. Of course when you've got a DNF you're not eligible for the overall, but hey, he's trying hard and he's certainly trying to get that boat going faster and faster, and he's getting experience for the World Championship next year.
I had a good run up, just sort of coming downstream, got a bit mismothered, but didn't have any too big moments, so we just got here and we've got a bit of work to do tomorrow, so we'll take another day tomorrow and push on for the rest of the week.
What was your issue coming downstream?
I don't know, just sort of been going all over the river, left, right and centre. Couldn't find a good stream down actually, to be honest, but I think we're just sort of chasing Aaron too hard and losing our own way, so yeah, that's good fun.
And I think Nigel Cromie had a good run up and down. He caught people, passed people, so he may have put up a very fast time. It's a lay day, of course, tomorrow, but most of the guys you might think are sleeping, they won't be. They'll be up the Matuki-tuk and up the Dart, pre-running those rivers to see what they're like, because I believe there's been lots of rain in the back hills and those rivers are really, really high at the moment. Snow on the mountains. It was -2 degrees coming over the Crown Range. It's about 1 degree here this morning, so it's very crisp, but hey, no wind, lake's very, very calm. So we've got to go across the lake and into the entrance of the Matuki-tuk, which is about a 51k run up the river, and it's a braided river, it's falling, and of course that river can be really, really tricky on a falling river. It's dirty, and it's very fine shingle, so you don't go very far when you do run around, not normally do a lot of boat damage. This boat, driven by Gareth Munro, is currently 6th overall at the moment in A class, which is really good. So how do you think you'll go today?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll be to stick to how we've been going all week and keep our foot down when we can and take it easy where we have to.
Gareth's never boated this river before. He actually hasn't even pre-boated this river. So, hey, his experience I think will get him through, and he'll have to be careful. Regan Williamson said he was coming out with all guns blazing, but his guns didn't light up this morning. The gas turbine had flat batteries or a crook battery from a high-speed spin a couple of days ago, so that was the end of his race. Next failure was Ben Baxter. Ben had a jet unit failure, which was a bearing gone in the pump, couldn't fix it, 2 DNFs.
Coming around the top corner of the lake up there, we could smell something melting in the back of the boat. And it got worse as we come through here, and it turns out it's a unit bearing. So what has that done? We have to pull it out and have a good look, but things have been pretty hot in the back, so something's gone wrong there.
Hoping to be back in this afternoon?
Should get fixed for the Clutha, but like you see, you've got to have a look and see how much damage is done.
And our only overseas competitor, Ryan Ringer, he had an engine failure, which I believe no oil pressure, so he never got across the lake either.
We made it about 3 miles, and the low oil pressure light came on, and I looked down at the tack and started losing revs, and oil pressure dropped to 0.
Rob Pooley had a dry sump belt come off on the way up, but of course that pump is what feeds the engine with oil, so that was the end of his day. amazing Gareth Munro, who never pre-boated this river, got up and down, and he got the thumbs up crossing the line, so he's a happy guy. Not so happy was me. Nigel was driving my old boat. He never made it over the finish line. With the side of the finish line, he run aground.
Pushing real hard because we've got nothing to lose. We're out overall, so just seeing what the boat can do. And last corner we could actually see the finish line. Went over, tried to cut a corner, went over a sandbank and came to a stop. That's a bit embarrassing. Everyone can watch, especially Dad looking on. So, but yeah, no, we would have had a good time. So yeah, we're feeling pretty good about it.
This is the final day of racing with 3 legs to go. But before all that, here's a shot of what happened yesterday on the Clutha.
We had a good fun around the lake today. Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, there's not a lot in it. There's only a couple of miles an hour, if that. So no, we were very, very close. So neck and neck there, and we were only just edging past. So it was good fun.
If we have any sort of failure, any navigational error, Jason's right there. Jason's got a fast boat, very, very fast boat, and it was a lot of fun coming across that lake.
So the 30k's up the Dart this morning was interesting. Hey, it's a braided river. It was very clean for a change, but you still had to navigate your way through it. Roger Preston had an issue.
Got a wee bit mismothered there. We hadn't pre-boated the right-hand side of the river going up. We were trying to get to the left. We missed the chute and it just dragged us over to the right, and we just flipped a fan. We went to shoot up to the left, flipped the fan, and it just straightened us up, and we went across about 3 other fans and never hooked up again, so we ended up running aground.
Ben Baxter was another one that had issues. By the time Ben got to the bottom, he needed another tow to get to the finish line.
Same problem as yesterday. Started smoking from the unit again, so something more was going on than just a failed bearing, I guess.
About John Derry is he's been consistent. He had a little bit of a slow run on day one, but every day he's been clean, had no issues, started every day, stopped every day with a clean run. He hasn't been fast, he doesn't need to be. He's just been pacing himself, and clearly he's going to win this by quite a big margin. After 25 years of not driving a boat, you've got Mike Pooley, who's extremely good. Like, he's been consistent every day, and he's actually had no DNFs. He's in for an overall, and you'd have to say the way he boats the rivers is absolutely fantastic.
No, it's been a good week actually. We've pulled together as a good crew and a few young fellas on board and lots of energy, and no, it's been pretty trouble-free so far, but still one to go.
And of course, down the field a bit, there's been great battles with Nick Sullivan and Justin Hill. And Tony O'Loughlin had another problem today. He was forced down a channel, which he shouldn't have been in, and had a grounding.
Thought it was a nice short shoot, but it wasn't short, it was quite long. We got just about to the end and fell in the deep water, but we had probably a metre push to get it back in the water and take off again. We're not playing for the Gold Cup, we're just having a lot of fun. Boys wasting money, really.
So this is the final leg starting this afternoon in downtown Queenstown, which is great because there's lots of tourists there to see it. They start in 1 minute intervals this time. Across the lake, down the Kawara, into the shot over. Plenty of drama on the last day of the final leg. Justin Hill had flame out going through the bridge, the narrowest part of the river. A alternator wire fell off.
Had a wire come off the alternator, exciter wire, so it cut out, and we thought it was all over, but he got it going again and ran upstream and pushed our way through. But yeah, we finished the day, and yeah, she's a bit down on power now, but we got there in the end.
Despite those dramas, Justin did win A-class honours. Tom Kelly also had alternator issues on the Dart today. They thought they'd fixed it, but pulled out after leaving Queenstown Bay. Nigel Cromie won fastest on the Dart and won the Ralph Brown Memorial Trophy. Regan Williamson beat him on the shot over. Third place competitor Nick Sullivan had a bolt come out of the bottom of his nozzle, losing steering. Interesting, a guy on the side of the river lent him a bolt, put it in the steering and continued on up the river. And Sean Kelly loaned him his nozzle at the top. Even though Nick got going, he was outside his cut-off time. Technically, he didn't finish every leg, so he couldn't claim third outright.
We're disappointed, obviously, we retained the class place, but we're fourth.
But Sean Kelly wasn't without his problems. Now, Sean actually owns this river just about with the amount of tours he goes through there. But hey, he blasted off a rock. His navigator was under the water, the boat was so low, but they did get through. A little bit of damage to the side of the boat.
Had a fresh wave, flicked us right up, and we're heading straight for the rock wall. Went right over on its side. Joe got wet, he bounced off that, and right its way we went. So pretty exciting. I thought it was all over for us actually.
So Sean Kelly is now the new NZ2. Why is Sean in second? Sadly, Mike Pooley, who drove an extremely good race without any problem, had an engine failure, and he's high and dry, because what happens in a jet boat? No engine, no steering, you're on for the ride. That means Greg Simpson in an FX boat, believe it or not, started and finished every leg, ends up in third, it's NZ3.
Pretty happy for FX boat. It's it's good, great.
We've got our winner, of course, John Derry, 5 times New Zealand champion, so he's got his NZ1 back again, which is unbelievable. He's a very clean run. He drove a tactical race too. He drove to finish without any problems. His boat has not got a scratch on it.
It was a tough one, really tough to be honest, and that last day in that gorge was, I'll tell you what, we were certainly thinking about coming down. We've got a big boat coming down through that gorge. It was bloody tough work to be honest, so very pleased to see the finish line. It's been a great event. We've had great weather. Everything's gone pretty well, you know, and finishing in Queenstown's the pinnacle of racing, I guess, and that brings everyone here, and we've got a lot of boats finishing, so it's great for us, you know. It's great. We've won the title, and hopefully we can try and repeat it next year. But it's a good start, I guess.
So John really deserved that win, and that's a good lineup for next year for the Worlds. That's it for this year, 2016 Riverboat Racing, sponsored by ITM and Design Windows. Hope you've enjoyed it. Looking forward to catching you next year for the World Championships in New Zealand.